I started, I really didn't envision the business reaching where it is now. Last year would have been the first that I had my products, still have them in two different storefronts. Well, now three. And of course, the product that I make, I wanted it to not just be a local item that persons see and then they figure, okay, that is local, I can tell it's local. I do believe that once you listen to your customers and they give you feedback, it tends to go in your favor. So how much for the bag? And I gave them a price and the person took the bag out of my hand and that was it. So I didn't even get to show anybody. I didn't get to bring the bag home. That was it.
Let's get started. First of all, welcome to the podcast. Can you say your name and say a little bit about yourself and your business?
Okay. So my name is Sharlene Charles, and I am the owner of Beatus Home and Accessories. Beatus would have started in 2022, February 2022, and we have been going from there in terms of offering different products, bags, and accessory items.
And the good thing is that you're using very strong fabrics, because one thing I can say about modern day products, even if you buy from some of the major stores, you buy something, it may not even last a year, and that's the truth. But I can tell that your bags are good quality. I'm being biased. I'm being biased because I like your stuff, okay? At what point did it hit you like this could be a good business idea? Because you loved art, you pursued it because it was almost like a hobby at first. You were just curious, okay, how can I make these bags? But did you do it knowing that you wanted to start a business, or did that happen after?
Well, what really happened after I would have made my first macrame bag, was a blue bag, blue interior, I would have taken it and I would have gone to my coworkers, gone to my friends to get some feedback, what they thought about the bag. I liked it. I liked how it came out. And by the time I went to the first group of persons, they said, so how much for the bag? And I gave them a price and the person took the bag out of my hand and that was it. So I didn't even get to show anybody. I didn't get to bring the bag home. That was it. And from there, they started to go around and say, well, Shadi making bags now. And other persons started to put the order for the bags, the macrame bags, and that is how it really, went off. So the idea was kind of there, but I didn't anticipate it would have happened like that or happen so quickly, because I really went with the intention, let me get some feedback on it before, and then I would have continued, but that did not happen. So the original bag, I don't even have it because it was sold.
Wow, look at that. So it's like a case of you didn't necessarily choose this business chose you. Because some people make things and it's like a hard thing to get it on market. You make something and you don't even know if people will have a need or an interest for this item. But for you, it's like you followed a hunch and it paid off. Were there any challenges while you were growing your business at first that you had to overcome?
Well, with starting a new venture, there's always challenges. So I did start from, being able to borrow a machine when I started, a sewing machine, to be able to have my own. So one of the challenge would have been to build from where it all started from. So persons who know me, who would have seen the bags in person, they were interested and hyped. And I wanted to go beyond that to really launch and expand. And that would have taken doing some marketing so persons can appreciate the products that you have. So that would have been one of the biggest challenges. And of course, the product that I make, I wanted it to not just be a local item that persons see and then they figure, okay, that is local, I can tell it's local. I wanted them to see the product, get the packaging, have the labels, had my logo done. And I really wanted it to be a similar experience to when you actually purchase something and you lift it up and you're like, this is what I paid for and I like the product I received. So those would have been some of the challenges, really branding, getting the idea what I wanted my company to be about, and how I was planning to get there.
Did you do all the branding yourself? Because I did notice what you're speaking about with your labels and the presentation, everything is very high quality. That's what drew me to your page because I was like, wait a minute, these things are real nice. And then you had the really nice logo. And was that all you? Was that all your research and your investment?
No. So I have someone but I know someone and he's really good with graphic design. So I'll call his name out. I'll put him on the spot. His name is Asif Bailey. And what I would have done would have given him the concept, what I wanted to do. Showed him a picture of the bag because he wanted to get a visual of what the logo should represent. So I brought the bag, I showed him what I was doing, and so from that, he would have designed the logo. So the logo was really based on what I was doing, what I was offering. But at that time, it was really macrame bags. So the logo was designed around that. Because even the logo itself, the circle around the name Beatus is more like a row card around the name. It's not just there for decoration. So all of that was thought of. And I mean, he would have done a really good job. As I said, he is a really, really good when it comes to graphic. And that's how the logo came about.
Okay, shout out to Asif then. He did an amazing job. Congrats to
Yes,
him on
definitely.
that. What would you say are some of your biggest business wins so far?
Okay. So for me, when I started, I really didn't envision the business reaching where it is now. Um, from last year would have been one of my biggest wins because I would have been online most of the time trying to market on Instagram and Facebook to get more persons interested or to show person what I was offering. And last year would have been the first that I had my products, still have them in two different storefronts. Well, now three. So the Common Ground brand, that store is really for local producers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And so I would have, inquired again because I have people behind me who push me to a certain. I would have inquired, and my products are now available in store at the cruise ship terminal in Kingston and also in Beckwith at that location. And I also have products at Malmat in Kingston, that's the capital for St. Vincent. So that would have been my biggest wins. The first time I took products in store, I was taking pictures and I was there with Peter Odini, and she has her own brand as well. And it felt like a surreal experience because I didn't expect it to happen again like that. And even meeting her was one of the highlights because I do see her as one of those high designers for St. Vincent, and just the opportunity to interact with her that day because that Common Ground is her brainchild. That would have been one of the biggest wins or one of the highlights I would see of this journey.
That's amazing. I feel like when you go on maybe your calling, you just begin to attract people who are like-minded, and it's great that you got to meet people that you would have admired. And another thing that I admire about you personally is you are a real businesswoman. Like whenever you see a good opportunity to expand your business, you take it. But how has that experience been in terms of incorporating the in-store products? Do you find that you get most of your sales online, or was introducing your products to stores a good business move?
Right. So for my products, it did work in my best interest to have them in store. When it comes to bags, persons like to, well, for me, I find persons like to see, touch, open the bags, see how it looks, especially when it comes to locally made products. They tend to want some visuals. So the storefront would have worked for me. The person would have entered the store, see what they like, and then left with the item. And it also worked out for me because what used to happen, that person would have placed their order and I would have given them a timeline, whether it is I need 2 days, 3 days to actually have it done, because most of the bags were custom made. So when you order them, I would actually go ahead and make the bag for you. And of course, if you had any alteration, anything you wanted to add, then I will construct and produce a bag like that. So the storefront would have worked for me for the 3 different locations, especially when there is a high influx of tourists, for instance. It's easier for them just to walk in store, grab a souvenir item, and go with it. Or if there's a bag that they really like, then they just grab it and go with it. So the storefront would have worked for my advantage.
What are some of your top sellers so far?
Okay, so for right now, my top sellers would be the macrame bags, my cosmetic bags, and the cosmetic bags would have merged into souvenir items and pencil cases. It fluctuates depending on the time of the year. So for right now, a lot of persons are coming back home. So when they are going back overseas, they tend to grab their souvenir items. They want something that is locally made, something that looks nice, something that is packaged well, so they can take it back and say, well, I got this from home, I got it from St. Vincent. So right now, the souvenir items are trending. And when the tourism season, of course, open back, then they then go up in terms of persons purchasing them more. So for right now, it's the souvenir items, macrame bags, and the cosmetic souvenir items as well.
Were you ever trained in entrepreneurship? Did somebody teach you how to like run your business, or you learned through practical everyday transactions?
Okay, well, it has been a learning experience, and I am someone who likes to learn. So once there is an opportunity that is presented for free online training, then I go for it. A lot of that I would have participated in. The current training right now with the OAS one, there was training with She Trades, and that was a good avenue because you can kind of pick your topics, and over the course of 2 weeks, then you can do different courses that can impact your business. So I would have done a couple courses as well. But really, anything I can find in terms of business and managing, I would gravitate to, listen to, read about, and of course, once there is a course or seminar available, once I have the time, I make myself available to learn.
Yeah, that's always very helpful. The more you know, the more you're empowered.
Right.
So now that you've done these courses, do you, for each product that you make, do you have this business jargon running in the back of your mind? Like, okay, this is my ideal client, so I'm going to make X amount of this kind of product. Do you think about it like that? Like, this is the type of market that I'm trying to access? Or do you just let your creativity, take the reins?
Well, I guess it's a bit of both,
Both.
and it depends on the demand as well. Because sometimes there are certain items that will sell out before others that I may or may not anticipate. For right now, as I said before, it's really the souvenir item person are looking for tokens they can take back when they go overseas. So I may send in a quantity to one of the stores, and then they will tell me, well, the last one sold today. So I know I have to create another batch to take to that store. So it really depends. I tend to work with the demand at the time, and so I produce accordingly.
What do you think St. Vincent is known for? And does that influence the souvenir items that you design? Like, do you design it based on the popular dish or what St. Vincent is known for? I'm not sure. I actually don't know much about St. Vincent, to be honest.
Okay, no problem. Well, St. Vincent is known for a lot of things. We have warm, friendly people. We have exceptional beaches and different sites and waterfalls and things that we are known for. When it comes to my products, I mainly focus on the colors of our flag. So blue, yellow, and green, those are the colors of our flag. So I tend to build my souvenir items around that. Along with the fact that I would have received feedback from when I started, and persons after a while they were looking for products that had the name St. Vincent and the Grenadines on it, and not just the color. So I would have adjusted my design, bought the machinery, and actually had that had the name of our country, then attached to the bags. And that as well would have gone over well. I do believe that once you listen to your customers and they give you feedback, it tends to go in your favor because they are giving you an idea of what they want and what would really motivate them to come back and buy your products. So for my products, a lot of times persons will let me know that they like the packaging of the products, the tags and the labels. So this is not something that is usually seen. So they like the fact that I would have taken the time to bring in my labels and have them attached to my bags. In terms of the feedback, for persons who purchase directly from me, I tend to go a bit extra when it comes to their packaging. And I remember a customer would have ordered an item, and when she got it, she sent me a voice note, and she was all excited. She said she thought like she got married and she got a gift for a wedding because she got the package, she opened the bag, she opened the box, she's opening ribbon, she's opening tissue paper before she got to her bag, and she was so excited about it. So in terms of the the packaging and the presentation, that is something that I do get a lot of compliments on in terms of my product, and that's really where I was going. I really want person to have their item and be excited when they get it from the outside to when they actually reach to the bag.
I love those extra touches that you do to make sure that you let people know, hey, I care about my brand. I want you to understand my passion for my brand. So that is awesome. Can you tell me about your experience sourcing the raw materials? Does that pose any kind of challenge? Does it influence your pricing? What's that like for you, sourcing materials?
Okay, so the material, I don't have an issue getting my material. It is costly to bring in the cord to make the bag. That is where the cost issue comes in, and I would have tried my best to ensure that I can bring them in at a reasonable cost, as much as I can afford to do. With my business, I must say that I believe I am blessed to be surrounded by persons who from time to time would say, okay, you have things to bring in, let me bring them in for you.
Really?
So they have
Other
other things coming
businesses?
in and you're like, let me bring those in for you, and they don't charge me the importation fee. So I believe I am blessed in that aspect.
Is that a St. Vincent thing?
Import,
like that community, that love, let me help you. That's normal?
well, Vincentian are usually friendly people, but I am blessed with persons around me who also are business owners, so they do understand the challenge and the expense of importing. So once I do have bulk item and they can assist, then they would offer and have those brought in for me. So far so good, but that's in terms of raw material. Other than that, everything is really readily available in my country. I can just basically go to the store and buy what I need to construct what I need to have done. So it's not an issue in terms of sourcing raw materials per se. It's readily available.
What about exporting? Do you do a lot of exportation?
Currently, I do not, but my products have gone far and wide because persons who buy them usually take them back or they send them overseas, especially souvenir items. I know there was a year in particular when I just started that a lot of persons were purchasing the cosmetic bags and making custom requests for their family members who were coming in for the Christmas season. And those persons would have taken those products back, and I would have received a lot of positive reviews. So I am interested in having my products exported, just something I'm trying to figure out how to do. I have done some research and explored and tried to inquire. I haven't really gotten a lot of positive feedback as yet, or sometimes you get no response at all when you try to inquire. But it's something that I do envision that my business will one day be at a point where I can export either regionally or internationally, and I can say to someone, you can go to this store here or this business here, and you can get the product.
How does your business model benefit you in terms of the fact that persons have to order first and then you make their products custom made? How does that work for you? What are the advantages of people ordering first?
Okay. So for persons who place their order directly, they do have the option to customize their order. So when they order the bag, I would ask them a series of questions because I want to make sure that when they get their product that they are satisfied with the order. So I would ask them in terms of the size, if they need anything special to be done, if they want a different inner piece other than the one that is there, and if they want any adjustments. There are some persons who would have requested custom orders, and it is one of the reasons why the ordering and the customization works, because those bags, I'm proud to say, there's only one of such bags. Once the customer would call or message and say, well, I need this done this way, and requested the customization, it is a customization that is not duplicated. So once you receive that bag, then that's it. I'm not going to duplicate on your custom order. So you have a unique, customized, one of a kind, can't find in store item, and persons tend to gravitate towards that. They like the fact that they have an exclusive product that they would have had a part in customizing. When it comes to products for the stores, I monitor the quantity that would have sold versus what remains, and I would then try to I would also keep track of items that are selling really quickly. Again, depending on the season, depending on the time, because when it's storage season and now it's summer, a lot of persons are home. The souvenir items tend to sell out fairly quickly. So those I know I have to keep track of, monitor, ask for a photo of what is in stock if I can't make it in store, and then make a determination of how much I will need to send.
The beauty of you producing these unique designs is also because women, when they go out, they like to know that everybody doesn't have what I have. So they could go to that event, they could go to church, they could go wherever, and it's like they don't see 20 people wearing the same exact outfit or anything like that. So I can imagine why that would have such a strong appeal. Let me call up Sharlene, let me get my custom made bag for this wedding, because when I show up, nobody ain't gonna have a bag like this. But you also make dresses and passport, what do you call them? Passport wallets?
Passport holders? Yes, the
Passport
passport holders.
holders.
So just to touch on the passport holders. So that idea came from a customer again. They wanted something to put their passport in. They thought that the pencil case was too big. And they said, you ever thought about making passport holders? And I was like, no, not really, And they would have made their order. So I decided, okay, let me make some and let me put them out there and get some feedback. And it ended up being a product item now.
Yes.
So that's why I said you had to get the feedback from your customers in terms of what they want and in terms of what they want to see, because passport holders was not on my to-do list, but it's something that was requested, and then other persons would have gravitated towards it. In terms of the beach dresses and the macrame wraps, that has been a new area that I would have launched into a couple months. And of course, as I make, then I get the feedback from persons in terms of what they would like to see, what changes they may want to make, and then I can adjust accordingly. So that is, of course, a new area I'm launching into, and still getting some feel and some feedback from persons in terms of the item, what they like about it, what they might want to see differently done with it. Again, I learn a lot from my customers, and their feedback is very vital to what I do and what I continue to do.
One thing about you, you always listen to the customers. And that's a good relationship that you have. I feel more businesses should take a note, take note of how you're doing this thing because it's working. Do you ever see yourself doing like mass production, like using machines to produce thousands of pieces as opposed to be handmade? Do you ever see that for yourself?
I don't see it. I like the idea of having something that is custom made, something that is handmade. To me, it carries more weight, it makes the piece more unique, and it creates more of a conversation piece, so to say. And when you have an item and everybody's looking at your bag and they're like, where do you get that bag from? And the customer can tell them where they got it from. If they had an input put in design, then they know that is the only bag like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna make another one. So I like the uniqueness of it, and being able for someone to have a bag, look at it, and be proud of their bag. I would prefer for it to remain along that
So we're
line.
coming to a close shortly, but before we go, can you share some of your biggest business lessons?
Okay. So my biggest business lesson, of course, would be, as I always speak about, to appreciate the feedback of your customers. They know what they want. And a prime example would be the cosmetic bags that I have. Those bags would have started from being without inner pockets. So the inner pockets, the tag outside, those would have all been customer influence, and they would have been the ones to say, okay, I like the bag, but can I have an inner pocket so I can keep this separate? I like the bag, but I wanna a hook, I wanna loop somewhere outside so I can hold it by the end and I don't need to hold the whole bag. And by the time I receive all that info, the final design for the bag is what it is now, and that really appeals to a lot of persons who see it.
What would you say is your biggest dream for your brand? How do you see yourself growing in the future?
Okay, so the biggest dream I have for my brand would really be to expand. I want to tap into the whole e-commerce, having my own website, being able to ship my products overseas. That's where I see my business being able to offer more payment options to my customers, so they know that they can order online, they can collect the product somewhere. That's where I see my business in the future, probably expanding, having different employees and teaching them what I know, so that the product can be available in more locations and being offered to more people. And that, of course, will include the macrame class, which I started this year, my first one this year. And I was real proud of the persons who came, and they really grasped the knowledge well. And these are fellow women entrepreneurs who have a vision for their business as well. And I was able to teach them how the concept of macrame and making these bags. So that's something I would like to continue in the future.